Tony, Meadowlark Media needs more employees like you. Billy Gill has been playing defense against you so actively to the detriment of your career around here, where you're doing your big hits and he's texting you to make your phone vibrate and get in the way of your reports. And despite that, you come in here every day, even on days you're not on the schedule. You show up.
Take a hint, buddy.
You show up with a good even on the days when Mike doesn't put you on the schedule because he's been slighted in some way by you, because you've said something bad about the University of Miami or the Heat or the Hockey Panthers. You come in here every day with a positive attitude, and on top of that, you're ready. Well, I'm not going to say you're ready because I got precious little proof you were ready last segment. But you're ready if called to jump into a seat and give what you got, even if you're not on the schedule. That is impressive, and I am proud of you. I am also happy that when I came out of this room, the first thing you did was take accountability for in the middle of the segment by saying, Dan, I've never heard this before around here. Never once. Dan, I'm sorry for my total incompetence there. It was the first time all day I had spoken. I was not expecting to be thrust into Mike Ryan's seat. It's a big seat, he'll remind you at every turn. He wants to get out of it. Too small a job for him now. Wants to get to Hollywood. Wants to start playing with McKay. And you sat in the seat for 9 seconds, and it fried your testicles and you yourself. And you were incompetent, but you immediately apologized for it.
Taking accountability is what, leaders do, and I feel like I'm a leader in this space, that I just want to be somebody who people can look at and be like, hey, this guy's doing it the right way. I come in when I'm not on. I go above and beyond the call of duty to make sure that things get done in this place. There's Roy, thank you, is taking some of the editing work. I'm taking some of the other editing work because Jeremy's not here. Again, above and beyond the call of duty. But when I sat there, it was the first time I had spoken all day. I hadn't spoken to my wife. I hadn't spoken to anybody on the train. I just had nothing. So my first words were, I don't even know what. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me like, what'd you say? And I'm like, I don't know what I said.
You stopped. Jessica, what was your experience with Tony rushing into the room to rescue us at a time of great need when Mike stormed off emotionally and Tony sat next to you and kept talking to me in a way that suggested that the rest of you had no idea what he was doing?
Per usual, I just didn't know what was going on. I tried to like figure out, like, you want to look inside Mike, like inside his esophagus.
Well, he was trying to defend Mike Ryan as being something deeper, but he didn't give us any explanation for what that defense would sound like.
I'm confused also. You came in and you were supposed to edit, but you then are having Roy do that while Roy's on the show?
Leaders delegate, Billy, you know that. But the point is that as we do this, love you, Roy, thank you so much. I walked in. The first thing is I see Mike leaving, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. Maybe Dan kicked him out. I have no context to what we're talking about as a show. I
didn't kick him out. Mike's got, look, man.
Right, I didn't even know. I had no idea.
This Hollywood stuff has gone to his head, and now the seat is too small for him, and he storms out in segments if you heard his feelings.
You're really overthinking this. You guys were just very mean to me.
Yeah.
And I was sick of taking it.
Yeah.
You've been mean to me all week.
Lucy feels very bad about it, too.
As she should.
I apologize.
It was his birthday on Monday, gang.
I didn't say anything to him on his birthday.
Well, that's even
we wished
worse.
him a happy birthday
We
in
did.
Instagram story
I used the
messages.
Instagram notes.
Oh,
And I texted him.
Mike uses those.
Wait a minute. On his birthday, you guys celebrated by going to Lincoln Road and reading his tweets and laughing together on his birthday. That was the gift you gave him. That's the gift he gave you.
And then we decided, because Mike Ryan is the only person we know that uses Instagram story notes to wish people happy birthday, that we would both write happy birthday Mike on ours. And we did, and he liked it. He replied, and he said he loved it.
It was
I
a nice
texted him,
touch.
too.
Yeah.
A great little present.
Little did I know that you just made a holiday out of my suffering.
Yeah.
Now,
And it was one of those things that just came up as you were laughing at
Lucy
me.
sent celebration to the group chat. The song. When Miami lost.
What have I done to you? What is my... I understand Notre Dame.
Do not listen to Golick and Smetty this week, Mike.
What have I done to you?
It was just after Miami lost. That one wasn't like targeted to you at all. It was just
Generally
see Miami
supportive.
win.
This has to be unique to you being down here, because why, as a fan of Iowa, would you ever care about Miami results?
I never did. And then I moved down here. And then suddenly just something like a fire lit inside of me. And now I do not like the Hurricanes at all.
Well, we've got a lot happening at Meadowlark Media. We've got climbing executives. Mike wants to get to Hollywood. Billy wants to
Can we stop with the Mike wants to get to Hollywood? This is interpersonal strife that we have in this office. And it's just like, I thought these people were my friends.
I apologized. And I
I
do
agree with
feel
Mike.
really bad.
That's good work by you, Tony, to agree with Mike. We agree with the power of the schedule
Leave
maker.
Mike alone.
I'd like to see more of you.
All right, but
You know what?
to me
Me
after
too.
this show.
You know what? And given a chance, I think if you gave me one day to sit into the EP chair, I would do a bang-up job.
I agree with that.
I think I would have
think that's
one
a
day
great idea.
to show you what I got, Dan.
That's
Because
a good
you give
idea,
everybody else a
Dan.
chance, but not
That's
me.
a
I'll remember
really
that
good
forever.
idea. I like that idea.
Billy, he likes that idea, Tony, because at the end of it, the empire will crumble because I will have murdered you, and Billy will laugh in the shadows. his self-destructive vengeance will have
En line
won.
at desempleo.
Unemployment.
Let's get to David Samson here. He's here a little early for his Adnan Virk segment. There were some things that I wanted to talk to him about. I wanted to remind you guys again, because he is doing a solo show. These are very different. The solo show live for 50 minutes a day where you're just talking to yourself, it's an unusual thing. Not a lot of people are doing it. I don't know very many. Is anybody? I don't know that anybody is doing it the way, it's a crazy way to do it. A morning show, 50 minutes, try to cover all the terrain that there is everywhere inside of sports and out. It seems like he's going insane. I'm worried for David Samson because I need 40 people to do a show with me. He's doing a show solo, trying to tackle Israel for 30 minutes. So I'm grateful that you're here, David, and I'm telling people to listen to Nothing Personal. And there was some serious stuff that I wanted to get to with you, but I have some conflict here at Metal Arc Media because Billy keeps getting in the way of Tony, trying to undermine his career.
Falsehoods.
And Tony, it fails and is incompetent, but apologizes for that incompetence and takes accountability for that incompetence. So what do I do in my executive levels when I've got these two fighting each other and Lucy's climbing over both of them by dropping bombs in college football cities all over America?
Figuratively.
She's got yes, figuratively. Thank you, Billy. She's
Very
got, yes, but she bombs into town. Lucy, you've got a giant weekend, a giant weekend. You're doing 2 sporting events where you're landing, parachuting in to throw Lucy parties.
I am so excited. We are going to Colorado tomorrow for Colorado-Stanford. The game will suck, but I'm excited to see Dion and go to Boulder. And then we're flying to Iowa the next day for the women's basketball team as they're trying to break the national record for highest women's basketball game attendance ever.
That's a lot of stuff, but I've got some conflict in my executive branch. How do you lead about this stuff, David? What do you do?
I'm happy to get to that, but I'm asking you 2 things. 1, the show is 45 minutes. 2, Mike Ryan, I'm waiting. I don't care about the executive issues. I've got some solutions that I want to go through with you and with Skipper, but I need to start with Mike Ryan right now because you feel hurt. You step away from the show. You need a break. You're concerned that Jessica and Lucy are celebrating your birthday and they're extracting, you're using a Shylock reference. I don't know why. I sent you a happy birthday text. A text. Enjoy the last 21 minutes. Crickets. Not an acknowledgement, not a thank you for thinking of me. And that is not how to be a team player, Mike.
I'm sorry, I was busy fighting freedom. Oh wait, no, fighting for freedom.
That is not an excuse. When people
You are.
wish you a happy
I'm
birthday,
sorry.
you
I'm
respond.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, David. You sent it. You sent it to me Monday at 11:39 p.m. and I was asleep.
Yeah, that's kind of late.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and I've gotten back to everybody. I'm going to text you back right now. Thank you so much. So very kind. I'm sorry. That's me.
Enjoy the last 21 minutes.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the previous 40 minutes of sleep.
So, Dan, here's how to take care of your issues. Let's start with the scheduling. I heard Jessica this morning live, and I think you were giving a lot of credit to how the schedule is actually done, as though there is some sort of theme that is done for people to come on a certain day. Dan is trying to get to some consistency, and there is none. So if you're willing to work every Monday, I think that it would be way better for you to be on the schedule every Monday and not wait for a Sunday email. You should just know to come in on Monday, and that would give you the opportunity. Now, if you don't want to work every Monday, that's one thing, and we can talk about it. But what I was hearing is you want to work more And that's music to my ears. I want to invite that as a possibility.
Well, I'm not going to come in if my name's not on the schedule because Dan is particular about how many people are here. So I don't want to add to.
But Tony's showing up every day and giving me the
situation.
incompetence I need to make this engine run.
Look, I promised myself I wasn't going to do this, but in light of new information and being thrown under the bus as someone that was censoring Jess and Lucy, I'll have you know that Jess was supposed to come in on Tuesday. And when she couldn't, we asked Lucy to come in on Tuesday, and she couldn't. And the reason for this was they were too busy recording a podcast that was just laughing at me the entire time.
God, they were doing that actively for someone
instead
else.
of this show,
let me add
they were
some
doing Golic and
problem,
Smetty,
Let me
where they
add
were
some
laughing at me.
context.
No context
I
needed.
offered to
I
come
have
in
taken this
Tuesday.
browbeating for too long.
No, you're not giving the full story. I was on the schedule for Tuesday, and I said I will come in Tuesday, but I will have to step out for an hour and a half to record my podcast, Golic and Smetty, which we have recently been told if we are on the schedule and we have to step out, we can no longer do that.
Which
So
is not
there was
helping.
a multi-year-long conflict that I have on Tuesday mornings that prevented me from being
Right.
A
here.
very popular podcast where she was
So
doing
just confirming she was scheduled for Tuesday.
Knowing that I wouldn't be able to come in, which
this
is
is-
part of my conspiracy theory, Mike.
This is and Lucy saying that she couldn't come in because she was
Lucy?
too busy laughing at me on your podcast
From the Heisman
that you were doing
House
instead of this
estate
show.
sellers.
I got a text at 11 p.m. asking if I could come in Tuesday, and I was asleep.
Was it from
I
Samson?
woke up. No, it was from Carl.
Samson, that is a late birthday message. And it's not even a happy birthday. It's, hey, look, 21 more minutes before the rest of your year starts and you're no longer celebrated. It's kind of an asshole thing that you did now that I think about it, texting happy birthday 21 minutes before birthday's over.
Would it have been better to go at 12:01 a.m. and say happy 365 days before your next birthday?
David, to be fair, it does kind of feel like you're just getting it in before the buzzer. Like it's not even birthday at that point.
That's how
It's
the best
night.
games are won,
Yeah.
David's defense.
It's
Or
still
lost.
a birthday, and greatness happens at 11:39 in the last 21 minutes of your birthday. It didn't even occur to me that you'd be asleep. I didn't think you'd respond at that moment because I figured you'd be busy, but I certainly didn't expect no response at all.
It didn't occur to you that I'd be asleep at 11:39 p.m.
It actually did not even occur to me.
I mean, it
I
was
don't
Raiders
follow that
Packers.
trend.
I was long asleep.
There are a lot of people out there doing podcasts about the movies. Many, many people. David Samson does not have a podcast exclusively about the movies. He'd like one, I'm sure, but he reviews every day on Nothing Personal a movie, watches a movie every day. Adnan, I don't know where it lists on Adnan's passion projects with tennis and baseball and broadcasting, but Adnan loves cinephile, loves cinema, and so he's got a podcast in the movies, about the movies, I should say. But we generally around here have been talking to them, and I have found that the young people around here have next to little to no interest in the movies that they are talking about because they're mummified and they're ancient. And so today, in order to cater to a younger demo, trying to stay young, these old broadcasters have made 2 top 5 lists of the best movies made from 2011 to 2021. So last decade's best top 5 movies. You guys are trying to skew younger here. This is a strategic decision, correct?
I'm actually doing this in the best interest of company camaraderie because I've noticed that during these segments that Jessica and Lucy, sometimes their eyes glaze over and they haven't heard of these amazing movies. So I said to myself, why don't we do something that they can appreciate?
Adnan, you are just going to be appalled, you think? As appalled as you usually are at David's lists? Because
Dan,
What
I found, Dan, is like generally I'm in such an agreeable, amiable mood. When I listen to David's list, and I'm just nauseated. Like eventually I get to a point that I don't understand why he's even allowed to have a voice. Like I don't want to sound cruel or malicious, but it's just awful. But go ahead, whatever. He has a voice somehow.
All right. Top 5 movies between 2011 and 2020. Number 5. This is a movie that I absolutely have loved my entire life.
Nobody cares. You know what? Actually, I have a better idea, Dan. Why don't we talk a little baseball?
Jesus.
I can already tell by David's
Jesus.
sanctimonious tone. It's a movie I love. I'm not going to like it. So let's do a little bit of baseball. Can I just make Dodgers? How do you win division after division, then fall flat on your face? Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman went combined 1 for 21. Clayton Kershaw gets lit up like a Christmas tree. Lance Lynn gives up 4 solo home runs in 1 inning, which is the most predictable thing ever that he would get lit up. And I got to listen to David Samson tell me the best movies of the decade. Can't we talk a little baseball? Isn't that more relevant to our audience than David Samson's favorite movies of the decade?
Adnan, it never happened in history. There's never been 4 home runs in a half inning, yet you're saying, Mr. I love movies and I know baseball. Look at me.
Yeah. No, exactly. Because I knew Lance Lynn would give up. I knew he'd get lit up. I didn't say 4 homers in 1 inning. I said I knew he'd give up a bunch of home runs. And by the way, how are the Braves on the brink of losing to the Phillies again? This is amazing. You can win all these games the regular season, then fall flat on your face again because Bryce Harper is staring down Orlando Arcia. And I got to listen to your list. Please, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Number 5, best movies of the decade.
I hired you to do movies and not baseball. You just did a Dodgers analysis and didn't mention that Betts and Freeman went 1 for 21. And just,
I did say that. Mike, can we check the tape on that? I believe that's the first thing I said.
Number 5. This is
Mike, can we double? I said 1 for 21, Betts and Freeman.
Can we get to the top 5?
He wants to get to the top 5 because he's having trouble with your mic levels. He's having trouble. He is dancing. He's spinning a lot of plates, and you guys are talking so much over each other that Mike is now overwhelmed.
Is this a bit? You guys were finally going to talk about movies that I might like, and then you won't get to it because you want to talk about baseball?
Just get to it. I was going to commend both of you for doing something to appeal to the younger audience and specifically the younger members of the Container, and you're getting in your own way by yelling at each other at different mic levels.
Are we friends again, Mike?
No.
Definitely. Too soon. Too soon. Number 5. This is a movie that stars an actor who I have loved, and he's had a career that has spanned 25 to 30 years of movies in my top 100 list. And when you look at the decade and feel about what this...
Okay, enough of the decade. You know, the team of the decade is the Houston Astros. Can we just say, can I get a thought or two of the Houston Astros? We discussed the fact that they're in the ALCS again. This is remarkable, by the way. This is the team everyone loves to hate, which is kind of like you. Dan, can we not agree? David Samson is the Houston Astros. Either you love him or you hate him, and more often than not, you loathe him. You look at him with complete contempt. Samson Altuve, discuss. Are they not the same person? Sorry, go ahead. Go with your list. Sorry.
We actually do see eye to eye. I don't know if we talk enough about Altuve. They list him at 5'6". I've got news for you. He's 5'5". I'm 5'5". Well, actually 5'4 3/4, but I always list myself at 5'5". I round up. Yeah. And Altuve and I are eye to eye. He is twice as wide as I am and 20 times as strong in a Samson-like way. The irony is he's got the wrong last name, and so do I. And the power that he has from his bat at the top of the lineup, the Astros, someone's got to defeat them because they are a dynasty, and they are separating themselves from the cheating scandal of 2017 because all they do is win. And MLB, as despondent as they are about the Dodgers, as despondent as they are about this year's playoffs so far, having the Astros as a villain and the Astros still in it, even though having an all-Texas series, Adnan, it's not good.
Well, what about the Baltimore Orioles? Charm City, and they fall flat on their faces. Here's an idea. Go get a starting pitcher. Maybe Jack Flaherty wasn't the answer at the trade deadline. Maybe Kyle Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez, and Dean Kramer, for God's sakes, was not good enough to win you a World Series. Would you agree on that at least? As a man who has won World Championships, perhaps some starting pitching, a little more acumen would have been helpful?
I just wouldn't have said Dean Kramer for Christ's sakes. But that said, when you have...
Number 5?
Yeah, well, I've lost Jessica and Lucy again is the problem. Now you found the topic in baseball playoffs that somehow makes them less interested than your movies from the 1970s.
I'd rather have Mike Ryan just yell at me again.
I'd never raised my voice.
He didn't. That's right. I feel bad. I'm sorry.
They are so right. The baseball playoffs have
Stop
been
apologizing. Stay strong, Lucy. I can't.
so interesting. The playoffs have been interesting, and all of the best teams are losing. That can't be good for anybody. Cannot be good for anybody.
It's really good for owners, actually, because the owners get to look at Steve Cohen and get to look at Peter Seidler, the Mets and the Padres and all the people who spent all that money, the Dodgers, and they get to say, hey, we don't have to spend this much money because you spend that money and lose.
What?
Why bother?
The Phillies exist. Like, there's the Padres, yeah, they didn't make the playoffs, but people are supporting the team. and the team is competitive, they're spending money. There's a lot of good examples in that sport of spending money and people coming out to support that, and a lot of good stories to be told, like the Bryce Harper contract somehow working, even though everybody that is in front of a microphone laughed at it. So you're always so quick to celebrate how, yeah, the Mets are bad and look at all the money that they spent, but there's plenty of good stories to be told. And right now, one of baseball's best markets in Philadelphia, they're loving the fact that their owners went for it.
Their owners, well, John Middleton is actually an example of an owner who has a quote where he said, "I'm willing to spend stupid money." And that did not help his case inside owners' meetings, because that is a bad place to be. And he's getting company now.
It's bad for the owners. It's not bad for the fans. It's great for the fans.
No, I think what's great for the fans is every team going into a season thinking they have a chance. They have some amount of hope that they're going to be able to play in the playoffs.
You do. It's a 4 seed versus a 6 seed. Who expected that in LCS? Mike's right, David. You're wrong.
They do. It's a sport that you say, oh, we can win inside the margins in this sport. But it's a lottery, but the teams that spend more money get more lottery tickets. Everyone understands that about this sport. It's not a bad thing that teams are spending money. Stop trying to make everybody the Rays.
The Rays are the example of who you want to be.
Yeah, I want to be a team that gets 19,000 for my playoff games. It's exactly what I'm looking for.
Dude, I've been flipping. You say it's been interesting. We all know that you kill my passion for the sport. I don't need to get back into that. But it does seem fun tuning in and flipping through the channels and seeing how crazy that Philadelphia baseball crowd is around this team with a lot of big money free agents.
This is Philadelphia. I think we'd all agree that they have a fan base. They were the most difficult fan base I ever encountered. I don't know, Adnan, when you're on the road, what you think of the Philly fan base, but they are, if you're not from Philadelphia, I would not call them the best fan base. They are not nice to people who are not like them, and I had a lot of issues with Philadelphia, and so did our players, actually, in the outfield, including some of our Marlins. Go ask Juan Pierre what he thinks about the Philadelphia fans.
Well, I love the time Jay-Z name-checked him. I used to run base like Juan Pierre, but I got to tell you, Philadelphia, raucous fan base, passionate, at times can be a little bit unlikable, but hey, it's kind of like you too in some ways, right?
Well, I would think that they're a little bit ugly, though, too, right? Philadelphia can be irrationally passionate about its sports and now has more reasons to care than it's had in a very long time.
But Dan, how great is it that Bryce Harper gets taunted by Orlando Arcia, who says afterwards, after game 2, when Harper gets picked off of that double play, says, ha ha, Harper. And that gets back to Bryce Harper, and he goes out and hits 2 home runs in front of that crowd at game 3 and stares at Arcia as he rounds the bases. That is what playoff baseball is all about. That is a red light player, a superstar coming through. How do you not love Bryce Harper in that moment?
And they were also wearing Colorado hoodies and shirts because Atlanta, quote, made it personal. So all of this is to say, number 5.
Number 5. Let me try this again, Adnan.
We're out of segment. We couldn't get. You were trying.
2-minute warning. Come on, we can do it.
Jessica and Lucy were actually engaged for the first time in this segment since it started.
I made my own list too to cross-reference.
Would much rather hear Jessica and Lucy's list than David. Let's be honest. And I think I speak for the entire audience. Go ahead, Jess. Number 5.
Well, Adnan, there's one thing you don't speak for ever, and that's the entire audience. You may speak for the audience of people in your living room, but that's about it. I don't understand how you came up with the list that quickly. This takes hours of time to cull down a list. How did you do it just during the baseball segment?
It's called you make like 7 OLIs, and then you're like, I came up with it quickly. It's not perfect. Haha. Number 5, Parasite.
Right.
What's OLI?
Outside looking
Christ.
in.
Yeah, I think Mike nailed it. Go ahead.
Number 4, Knives Out.
I guess we're not needed, Adnan.
Number 3, Wolf of Wall Street.
2 of the 3 exceptional so far. Keep it rolling, Jess.
Wait, which one did you not
Knives
like?
Out,
Knives
Not
Out.
crazy about Knives Out.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
Mike
thought it was
already
so
did.
funny.
No.
Was
Parasite, Wolf Wall Street, outstanding.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Am I on
picks.
3 now or 2?
2.
2.
Lady Bird.
And Christmas.
And Christmas. Number 1, Whiplash. Love
I gotta say, pretty strong list. I mean, that's just to whip that up during a
Jess.
baseball segment.
You should take over this segment.
Not a bad idea.
If I ever put you on the schedule again.
We're out of time. Nothing personal. We can't get to David's list. Look at him. Look how mad he is. We can't get to his
Spent
list.
so much time.
The Dark Knight Rises.
There. Did you hear Bane over there? Did you hear Bane? Did he make any of the lists? No?
I don't even have time to talk about why it's not on my list.
All right. Maybe next week. See you guys later. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Way to go, Adnan.
Dean Kramer.